Well, it's time now for a look at the day's business news, and I'm joined by Stephen Carroll. Hi there.
Hi, Anna.
Starting in the United States and the latest twist in the fake account scandal at the bank Wells Fargo.
The lender's chief executive is to forfeit more than $40 million of his pay as he tries to deal with the fallout of the scandal. Wells Fargo was fined $185 million by the consumer regulator in the United States after it emerged staff had opened more than 2 million accounts in customers' names without their knowledge. Wells Fargo's former head of retail operations will also lose $19 million of her share awards. Now, the announcement that CEO John Stumpf will give up his bonuses comes ahead of his appearance before a House of Representatives committee on Thursday. The lender and its boss have come under fire for sacking more than 5,000 workers over the scandal, but taking no action against top executives.
Lots of focus today on oil prices, producing countries meeting in Algeria.
There were sharp falls in oil prices on Tuesday ahead of that informal meeting in Algeria. Let's take a look at how things are trading today. We've seen some gains on the Brent crude index, which is the international benchmark for oil, and also on WTI crude trading out of the United States. So we are seeing some signs of at least a bounce back from those sharp falls we saw yesterday. The oil markets had fallen because it looked unlikely that producers would agree on any measures to cap oil supply at that meeting. The discussions will take place not only among the 14 members of the OPEC oil cartel, but also Russia, another major oil producer. Those countries have been suffering from the drop in oil prices seen over the past 2 years, but some are holding firm that production shouldn't be reduced. Fernand van Tetz has more.
Could it be decision day for OPEC? The cartel has so far struggled to come up with a coordinated answer to a worldwide oil glut, which has driven oil prices down since 2014. On Wednesday, OPEC countries will informally meet with Russia.
There's just consultation and trying to figure out where the market is going and get to a consensus view. That will happen in due course, and the mood is generally very positive.
The cartel's most influential voice, Saudi Arabia, has said it is willing to participate in a coordinated scale-back of production by 1 million barrels a day, but only if regional rival Iran agrees to freeze output at current levels. But Tehran wants to keep increasing production until it hits a pre-sanctions market share of 13% of OPEC output. Tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran also scuppered OPEC's efforts to curb production back in April. Although a deal could still be on the cards this Wednesday, the discussions are more likely to pave the way for an agreement during the group's next formal meeting in November.
Well, let's take a look at what's happening on the stock markets next. And we're seeing generally falls across the Asian share markets today, weighed down by fears over Europe's banking sector, which crept in towards the end of trading again yesterday. Investors also keeping an eye on that oil producers meeting in Algeria. The biggest falls that we've seen have been on the Japanese markets, the Nikkei in Tokyo, finishing the day down over 1%. Exporters there being dragged down by a stronger Japanese yen. Some more of the day's headlines in the business world. The Royal Bank of Scotland is to pay $1.1 billion to settle claims that it missold investments in the United States in the run-up to the financial crisis. The state-owned bank sold mortgage-backed securities to 2 credit unions that went bust after the US housing crash in 2008. It settled those claims with America's National Credit Union Administration Board. RBS is still facing other legal cases in the US over the same issue. A group of US senators has called on Yahoo to explain why it took 2 years to reveal the theft of information from 500 million of its accounts. The lawmakers described the company's handling of the 2014 breach as unacceptable. Yahoo says it'll respond to the senator's letter in a timely and appropriate manner. And Walmart's in talks to buy a $1 billion stake in the Indian e-commerce firm Flipkart. Reports today saying the discussions were in a preliminary stage. A deal would see the American retail giant in rivalry with Amazon in the fast-growing Indian market.
Finally from you, Stephen, a new report on the world's most competitive economies.
And it's Switzerland that's come out on top for the 8th year running. These rankings are put together by the World Economic Forum from a global survey of executives that measures how open countries are to things like trade and foreign investment. Now, in its report, the Forum warns that increased barriers to trade are threatening global economic growth. Well, after Switzerland coming out on top, we have Singapore in second place, followed by the United States and the Netherlands in fourth. France is lagging pretty far behind, though, in 21st place. That's because of what the survey says is relatively low levels of efficiency of both the goods and labour market. Well, I'm feeling very efficient for this time of the morning in Paris, Emma, so I don't know how they could possibly feel that about me.
Yes, it is always the criticism of France, isn't it, that they're just lazy and unproductive. I can't possibly say
contradicting opinions on that.
Yes.
And figures as well, but yeah, it's one of the perceptions.
Okay, Stephen, thank you very much indeed.